back everyone, Marco Collective Gamer 77 here, and before Memorial Day comes, we've got one more upload. Today will be a very small niche title that not many people have heard of. Part of the Power Instinct series. I believe this is either the 5th or 6th game in the series. After a Groove On Fight, this game is programmed by Noise Factory, who also did the prior Rage of the Dragons. Matrimlee brings some new designs, some name changes to the 11 classic Power Instinct characters. There are 4 totally new characters added to the roster along with a new boss character. There's also 4 guest characters from Rage of the Dragons alongside the main characters. They also add some mechanics such as bloodline battles, counter hits, and even the ability to toss Kuroko, who is Kuroko, who is the referee in the game, towards your opponent. And from the cast of the 15 characters, you've got Ani, Buntaro, Chinin, Clara, Elias, Hikaru, Jimmy from Rage of Dragons, Jones, Kanji, Keith, Lin, Olaf, Pucci, Reiji, Saizo, Sissy, Shintaro, Tane, and Ume, and last but not least, White. And as I mentioned, since 4 of the characters came from Rage of the Dragons, and those would be Billy, Jimmy, Elias, Mr. Jones, and Lin, the gameplay itself, since it is of course programmed by Noise Factory, controls very similarly to Rage of the Dragons. Of course, the game mechanics are a little bit different. It is definitely one of the fastest and tightest as far as game controls that in regards to game engines out there. Definitely a huge improvement over the original Power Instinct series, which was definitely more of a tongue-in-cheek Street Fighter 2 clone or copy. So definitely Noise Factory has done a wonderful job in updating and upgrading the gameplay, and of course the animations and graphics. This game does come out 7 years after Groove On Fight, and the Noise Factory did decide to basically reinvigorate and resurrect the series in the Neo Geo, titled New Power Instinct, or Shin Gogetsuji Ichizoku. It's commonly known, of course, by its subtitled Matrimlee, which basically stands for Matrimony plus Melee. So yes, this time it is a fighting game based on trying to gain someone's hand in marriage. And after taking a look at the game, you can easily spot, especially if you're a fan of the Power Instinct series, that the developers are fans themselves and drew a lot of inspiration in regards to some of the silliness that it comes to the characters. Right before the beginning and of course the after fight scenes, you actually can see that at the end, either if you win or lose, the defeated character will have doodles on their face. The music itself is actually really well done, and it sounds like it's recorded MP3 because there is a ton of very, I would say, odd songs for a fighting game. There's even one where you're basically fighting the middle of a karaoke bar. So the background music actually has both a female and a male singer singing a duet. Definitely very unique. That said, I did find the music very enjoyable and found that the music was composed by Toshikazu Tanaka, who also did the soundtracks for King of Fighters Maximum Impact, Metal Slug 5, and of course Rage of the Dragons. If there is maybe a knack that I could give this game, is the lack of variety for backgrounds. Even though there's about 15 characters, there's not that many background stages, though the ones that are there are pretty lively and feature a lot of background animation. I personally think it was probably due to the Meg cartridge size. This, when it came out of a total of 646 megs, so my guess is they had to choose between graphics, animation, and adding to the meg count, especially with those vocal tracks. I'm sure that added quite a bit. Especially since it didn't sound like it was muted, so it looks like it wasn't maybe compressed too much. And this still being an SNK game, it will definitely suffer from the SNK boss syndrome. The last boss is actually a tiny little girl who's it's Sissy, who can basically summon gigantic monsters and saw blades from her feet. So pretty difficult. It's definitely one of the best in the series and probably one of the last amazing titles that came out for the Neo Geo arcades. Fortunately, there was a home version 2 years after when this came out for the Neo Geo. Matrimlee was actually translated and ported to PlayStation 2 by Excite. Though the port did not survive quite intact, the Kuroko judges were removed entirely, as well as the four Rage of the Dragon characters, along with their associated music and stages. Kinta and Angela from Power Instinct 2 have been included back into the roster. Transformations were added, so that also means that Poochie is no longer a regularly selectable character. They also added a mission mode, which lets you get some new cards, which unlocks extra characters and modes for the game. Again, on the PlayStation 2. The artwork itself is pretty high res, considering the time of when this game came out. The animations are done very well. They're smooth, and as you can see from the gameplay, the action is fast and frenetic. It's definitely got some flashy animations. I will admit, I'm fairly new to this game series in regards to the actual gameplay. So as you can see, I'm trying to figure out a lot of the controls for these characters. This character, which should look like a Ryu clone, is not. He does have a charging fireball, which I can, pull off every now and then. But he's mainly a character that uses his feet, pretty akin to Kim Kapuan. So trying to get used to these characters and guessing the control and special moves, even in this day and age when you can just Google moves. I will admit I do like to try and figure out what moves I can't find out on my own before having to Google and really look it up. He does have a good diving kick, and this is one of my favorite characters that I've found so far in the game. I haven't tried all 15 characters. Haven't had a chance yet to really play this with some friends, of course, with the unfortunate pandemic, which looks like we're on the recovery of, or still in the recovery phase. Have not had really any friends come over, play, and really have a chance to go toe-to-toe on this one. And of course, besides the PS2 release, there haven't really been any other releases for Matrimlee or any game in the Power Instinct series, especially Rage of the Dragon, and by Noise Factory. So I would love if a compilation came out of their games to the current systems. Of course, that would be the Switch, Sony PS4, PS5, and of course Xbox. Of course, you can pick this up as an MVS cart, so not too bad price-wise. It is a bit more of a niche title, so they didn't make quite as many cartridges. And of course, the other way you can find this title is via emulation. However, I do recommend, if you have a chance and you're in the mood for something quirky and a bit different, to go ahead and play this game. Again, Matrimlee does primarily play an emulation unless you still have a running PS2 and pick up that title. That title, of course, is not quite arcade perfect since it does make some changes, but still a very fun, tight gameplay, very quick, no lag between the button presses and your moves, easily worth it. The one negative I do, if you are emulating it, if you decide flipping it to the US region, you actually will lose a lot of the vocal tracks in some of the stages. So just a warning there. But everyone, thanks again for watching. Hope everyone has a great Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe. Please like and subscribe. Till next.